In Crimea, the local government has cancelled its annual military parade amidst reports that thousands of people in the peninsula were fleeing due to fears of Ukrainian retaliation. Meanwhile, according to the Washington Post, Ukraine has decided to postpone its counterattack. Was it the reason? In another noteworthy development, former President Donald Trump criticized the French president for supporting China. In response, President Macron stated that France is not a vassal of the United States. You are watching today's World News. Traditional military parade set to take place next month has been called off in Crimea due to security concerns. According to Sergei Aksyonov, the Russian politician acting as head of the Russia-annexed Crimea since 2014. In a statement on his Telegram channel on Wednesday, Aksyonov said authorities in both Crimea and Sevastopol have decided not to hold the parades or marches to mark Victory Day on the 9th May. Marches to mark Labor Day on the 1st May have also been scrapped in the region, he said. The move comes as Ukraine has signaled its intents to recapture Crimea as part of its counter-offensive efforts. Aksionov's statement conflicted with the commands made by the Moscow-backed Sevastopol governor Mikhail Ravoshaev, who said on his Telegram channel on Wednesday that a May 9 military parade has not been cancelled. At the same time, Newsweek reported that a Ukrainian official stated that thousands of Russians were fleeing Crimea and abandoning the access due to fears of Ukrainian spring counterattack. Tamila Tasheva, a representative official of Ukraine in Crimea, stated on national television that Russians were very concerned about Ukraine's plan to retake Crimea.
Bà Tamila Tasheva, một quan chức đại diện cho Ukraine tại Crimea cho biết trên truyền hình quốc gia rằng người Nga đang lo lắng trước kế hoạch chiếm lại Crimea của Ukraine. Bà Tasheva nói mọi người đang từ bỏ tài sản của mình để rời khỏi lãnh thổ của bán đảo. Không có số liệu thống kê cụ thể về số người rời đi, nhưng chúng tôi biết được hàng nghìn người đang rời Crimea, bằng chứng là có nhiều xe đang xếp hàng để rời đi trên cầu khách.
Long-awaited Ukraine's counteroffensive has been delayed due to weather conditions, slow military hardware deliveries, and a low stock of ammunition, the Washington Post reported on April 12. The recent U.S. intelligence document leaks are also complicating matters, according to the report. They delve into details about the capabilities of Ukraine's armed forces and alleged weaknesses of air defense, which could make Ukrainians alter counteroffensive strategies. A Ukrainian corporal told the newspaper that the Ukrainian military is conducting reconnaissance missions in eastern Donetsk Oblast to test Russian defenses. But for full offensive to go forward, Ukraine needs more heavy equipment, armored vehicles, and training. Speculation about the authenticity of the leaked intelligence documents is ongoing.
Belarus is calling for a truce in Ukraine and the start of talks. Belarusian Foreign Minister Sergei Ilyich said on a visit to Hungary on Wednesday. Minsk's position is straightforward. What is needed is to stop the killing of people, announce a truce with a delay, and start talks. The sooner, the better, he said. The minister said that Belarus, like Hungary, is on the side of peace. At the same time, Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjarto told reporters after a meeting in Budapest that Hungary expects Belarus to do its utmost to prevent the escalations of the conflict and to work towards a peaceful solution to the issue.
Và đó là lý do tại sao tôi muốn nhân cuộc họp hôm nay để yêu cầu Bộ trưởng Belarus làm mọi thứ có thể để giảm nguy cơ mở rộng chiến sự.
The U.S. military prepared a draft peace treaty for the Ukrainian conflict, U.S. investigative journalist Seymour Hersh said in his article, published on the Substack platform Wednesday. I was told that 2 months ago the Joint Chiefs had ordered members of the staff, the military phrase is tasked, to draft an end-of-war treaty to present to the Russians after their defeat on the Ukraine battlefield, he said. Hersh provided no proof for his words. U.S. investigative journalist and Pulitzer Prize winner Seymour Hersh said in his article published on February 8, explosives were planted under the Russian Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines by U.S. Navy divers, with assistance from Norwegian specialists, under the guise of the Baltops 22 exercise last June.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump accused Emmanuel Macron of pandering to China leader Xi Jinping during the French president's recent closely watched visit to Beijing. Trump, in a television interview, derided Democratic President Joe Biden's foreign policy as having emboldened Russia, North Korea, and China, and sidelines the United States as a world leader. A senior French diplomat on Wednesday responded to Trump's comments, telling reporters they are vile. The diplomat pointed to Trump's own comments during a November 2017 visit to Beijing when he said, "I don't blame China for the trade deficit."
Paris is an ally and not a vassal of Washington, French President Emmanuel Macron said on Wednesday, defending his comments about strategic autonomy of the EU regarding the rising tensions between the US and China. Being an ally does not mean being a vassal, doesn't mean that we don't have the right to think for ourselves, Macron said in Amsterdam at a joint press conference with Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. Asked for the French position on Taiwan, Macron said Paris supports the status quo, meaning the One China policy, and the search for a peaceful resolution to the situation. Returning from his trip to China on Sunday, Macron argued that the EU can't just be America's followers, and that it is not in the bloc's interest to stoke tensions over Taiwan. The worst thing would be to think that we Europeans must become followers on this topic and take our cue from the US agenda and a Chinese overreaction, he told reporters. The remarks earned a swift rebuke from U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, a Florida Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee, who suggested Washington might leave the EU to handle the Ukraine conflict by itself. Taiwanese Parliament Speaker Yeo Si-kun on Tuesday argued that France had forsaken its motto of liberty, equality, fraternity, and that advanced democracy should not ignore the lives and deaths of people in other countries, adding that Macron's comments left him puzzled. French President Emmanuel Macron and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte and members of their governments on Wednesday, April 12, held a working dinner at the Amsterdam landmark Rijksmuseum, home to Dutch masterpieces like Rembrandt's Syndics of the Drapers Guild. The dinner was the last planned event of the first state visit of a French head of state to the Netherlands in 23 years.
Tiệc tối làm việc tại bảo tàng Rijksmuseum là hoạt động cuối cùng trong chuyến thăm cấp nhà nước đầu tiên của một nguyên thủ Pháp tới Hà Lan sau 23 năm. Tổng thống Macron thực hiện chuyến công du Hà Lan trong bối cảnh ông đang đối mặt với làn sóng dư luận trái chiều sau khi ông nêu lên lập trường cho rằng châu Âu không nên theo chân Mỹ trong vấn đề Đài Loan. Nhiều chính trị gia ở cả hai bờ Đại Tây Dương đã chỉ trích quan điểm của Tổng thống Pháp vì cho rằng ông quá dễ dãi với Trung Quốc trong bối cảnh nước này tiến hành các cuộc tập trận quân sự xung quanh đảo Đài Loan.